So there's been a lot of anti-Arsenal banter, the second again stuff from Palace. I've seen videos of, well, from lost teams, even from, relegated teams. Second again, LA, which is a strange old flex. 92 teams in the Football League. One of them's above you. Especially since we're in the, Final Four in the Champions League. But a lot of it is quite specifically targeted at Mikel Arteta, including not just online. I get it directly from mates, Spurs mates, Man U mates, Chelsea fans. They're all very, very anti-Arteta. You'll never win anything with Arteta. Arteta's a fraud. Arteta's a bottle job. It's just sort of got me thinking. For example, Ten Hag and Maresca. Maybe I don't know enough about Maresca. The other two definitely. Observed their playing styles, observed the way they've constructed their teams, and been absolutely delighted. Wanted them to keep those managers. I've got a small confession to make. I remember at the beginning of Klopp's reign at Liverpool, they lost a series of cup finals. He came in with them sort of mid-table, and at the end of the season they were still mid-table. And I did the same thing. I gave them loads of stick. Oh, Klopp always loses cup finals. Oh, X money spent and no progress. And the reason that opposing fans attack a specific manager is because they're scared of them. I was scared of Klopp. I wanted Liverpool to fire Klopp so that we could make him Wenger's replacement. I'd have far rather had Klopp than Emery. The reason people pile into Mikel Arteta and this nonsensical crap about loads of money, 600 million, 800 million, 500 million, whatever the made up numbers are. I think we've spent the fourth most since Arteta arrived, and we've pretty much established ourselves as one of the best two teams. The best over 3 seasons, sadly not the best over any one of those 3 seasons. These sort of the same. I remember Leeds without winning anything, building records like that in a sort of O'Leary era. It's not good enough. It's not what we want. It's not what they wanted. They overspent to try and make the next step. We're a better funded team, more fans. Our corporate hospitality generates as much money as the rest of the stadium. We've got money to spend. With relatively targeted investment, we can be somewhere. But it also makes you think, what kind of a manager is Arteta? Seeing him compared to Mourinho, which I reject. As an Arsenal man, I'd compare him to George Graham. George famously had his back four tied on a rope. It's all about the positional interplay between the back four. As one side went up, the others moved across. I think Arteta is a slightly more complex version of that. For a start, Raya's on the rope. Arguably the whole team's on the rope, but everyone, even George Graham's teams, had a lot of positional discipline in between the lines. Not many of them included their goalkeeper in build-up, quite the way that David Raya becomes the left centre-back, and our left centre-back becomes positionally the left-back, and the left-back enjoys the double pivot. Hold on, I've got to grab it. It needs 5 more minutes to try and save my iPad. It's a relatively complex positional play, which switches formation-wise between when you're building up and when you're off the ball. More of a 4-4 team off the ball very much needs Ødegaard as the trigger for that. It might be slightly different with Trossard. Sort of sometimes does his better pressing coming from out to in. I'll have to look at some videos. against Ipswich, he was wandering a lot more rather than always pressing in the same place. Ipswich, which is probably Erdegaard's best game of the season on the ball. I mean, he's pressed very well all the way, but was back to Erdegaard of the last 2 seasons, creativity-wise. I hope that's part of the progress rather than a reflection on how poor Ipswich were. We'll see, I guess. The PSG team. Listen, I think Luis Enrique is an absolutely top-class manager, one of the best around. But this is year 1 of his project. I mean, they started relatively slow, as often is the way with these new projects, while he tried different players in different positions, tried to work out what his best formation was. Most of this is informed by Julian Lorenz talking to Arsenal Vision in a preview. Big PSG fan, knows everything about that club. Also a gooner, having lived in London for 20 years. But I think that, listen, I've only seen them live once this season, obviously, but I watched the Liverpool games on TV. Got to see most of the Villa games. There's some spaces to be taken advantage of in their team. I think Hakimi's almost like a Trent who rather than pinging the ball 50 yards covers it at 1,000 miles an hour. But it enables that there's a disconnect sometimes between him and the rest of the defence. I think that's disconnects are the flaws of Paris Saint-Germain. Now, look, I'm only going to talk about where I think we can hurt them. Let's be clear, this is one of the most dangerous squads in the world. Dembele is a sort of free-floating 9. He's wreaking havoc all over the league. What a signing Kvaratskhelia is. I wish we could have got Kvaradona. Absolute one-on-one killer. Barcola, one of the best young prospects in the world. And that Vitinha, Neves, Fabian Ruiz midfield, the sort of tiki-taka interplay is deadly. I don't know. Yeah, and as I've said it before, the best fullback pairing in the world. Nuno Mendes, probably the best left back in the world, with Hakimi, an amazing attacking weapon. I don't know whether all those pieces are yet perfectly interlocked under Luis Enrique. They're earlier in their project than we are, and I sometimes feel that the tiki-taka midfield isn't quite as quick to react as the wingers who want to fly. Their switches aren't always covered. They don't get the man over when it goes from side to side rather than straight vertical lines. You can get holes between the midfield and the defence. Marquinhos has been an absolutely brilliant player. Is he quite at the same high level as slightly earlier in his career? His patch up to his level? Can you find gaps between the two centre-backs? Sometimes it feels like the two centre-backs, and maybe Nuno Mendes can attach himself to them, but then Hakimi is separate. So also, is there enough connectivity with Neves? Could be the one dropping deep near the centre-backs. That's fine in possession, but without the ball, are they able to... I mean, the Premier League, almost every team we play seems to be obsessed with denying us access to Zone 14. That's not really their game at all. They don't have dedicated players to do that job. If we can get their fullbacks, are going to try and deal with the danger of Saka and Martinelli. I think it can be a game for Erdegaard to take advantage of some space that he doesn't get to see normally. I'm more scared of Gonçalo Ramos off the bench, proper 9, trying to find little half space runs where he could spin into our penalty area, rather than the direct line, express pace of their wingers going at you with skill. I think clever movement inside a box is more of a danger for us. I'm confident. I'm generally confident about this team. I have a lot of belief in Arteta. I have belief in us in the big games. This is a massive one, the biggest. This is 2009. And different from 2009, you know, when we were facing Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez, whatever, we felt we were underdogs. We were a young team. I now think that, you know, us and PSG are absolutely on a par, two of the best. Go toe to toe. It's going to be an absolute barnstormer of a game. I cannot wait. I'm going to do another video later about sort of how the season has developed and how we got to this point. But this one's just about Arsenal PSG. What a game it's going to be. Come on, you guys.